guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a vlog where I thought I'd give you guys an update on all of the pets because it has been a while since I've given you updates on everyone specifically, and some of you have been wondering where Orbit is or what has happened with the rats and why I've not been making as many rat videos. What I would like to know is why this litter tray is down here on the floor of the cage and how on earth someone has snapped it and broken it. So I guess I need to buy them another litter tray because they've completely snapped the latch thing that attached it. That seems to be a common theme with them at the moment, so I guess I'm going to have to be buying a new litter tray at some point because this is upside down and very broken. So you might have noticed, or maybe you've not noticed, I've not been uploading as much as usual. I used to upload on a Wednesday and a Sunday, and I've just about been managing to do Sundays, so maybe you've not noticed that at all, but I've not been uploading as frequently, and I've also not been uploading kind of care-related videos where I sit down and talk you guys through specific things to do with rats or mice. I've just been uploading what I can when I can. So that has nothing to do with the rats or the other pets. They've not done anything to cause this. It all has to do with me personally having health issues. I've been in a lot of pain at the moment, and recently it's not something that's gone away or will probably go away anytime soon, and that means I've not been able to put makeup on, film videos as often as I used to, which is so frustrating because I have so many video ideas I want to film, but I just don't physically have the energy to do it, which is so annoying. But hopefully in the next couple of months this kind of sorts itself out. I've been back and forth to the hospital, to the doctors, and it's just a very slow process. So if you're wondering why I've not been uploading as much or not doing kind of sit down videos where I'm sat there for a long amount of time, that is the reason why. I do talk more about this on my Instagram. Hello, is that Twix? Yes, it's Twix. I talk more about this on Instagram if you're curious, but I won't bore you too much with that at the moment. But I just thought I'd explain why I've not been making as many videos as usual. But don't worry, despite all of this, the pets are still well taken care of and they're all doing fine, which brings me on to today's sponsor. So as you guys know, I've been working really closely with Skillshare over the last couple of months to bring you guys access to so many different classes for pretty much any topic you could think of. So although I feel really confident when it comes to animal care, when it comes to caring for plants, that is a whole other matter that I'm not very confident with, and I could definitely use some help. So I love houseplants, and we're actually moving house next year, which means a lot more space to have more houseplants. But I just don't have the best luck in keeping them alive. Even a basic cactus I struggle with, so before I get any more houseplants to add to my collection, I really need to learn how to take care of them first. So I've been taking this class by Chris Satch called Happy Houseplants, just to learn a bit more about the basics of caring for them in general, and also picking which plants to put in which part of the house, because that can also make a really big difference. So hopefully by the time it comes to us moving next year, after taking this class on Skillshare, I'll have a better idea of what kind of plants I can get and be much better equipped for taking care of them. So if you're looking for something to keep you inspired, especially during that weird period between Christmas and New Year where you don't really know what to do with yourself and you don't really know what to fill your time with, I think now is a perfect time to take a look at what Skillshare has to offer. So Skillshare have actually given you guys access to a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership, and that is available to the first 1,000 of you that use the link in my description. After that it is only $10 a month, and that is if you use the annual subscription. So thank you so much Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Can you see Humbug in the background? Now let's get on to giving you guys updates on how all of the pets are doing. So as you can see by them crawling all over me whilst I was trying to do that sponsorship, the rats are doing really good. Hello Humbug. Here's your treat. Take yours. And take yours. That's it. That's your lot. So the rats have been doing good. There was a slight issue with Humbug and Whisper. I feel like they're never going to be the best of friends, but they were having a few issues in terms of after the introductions. I think Whisper, with his age and his size, he's a very big boy, has decided to be the alpha, and he just took a dislike to Humbug, which has been quite difficult to deal with over the past couple of months, weeks, having them fighting a little bit. Nothing too serious, he's not been injured or anything, but he's just taken a dislike to Humbug. But things seem to have calmed down, which is good, and they're kind of back to a normal, regular schedule of just being rats and enjoying being rats, which is all I could really hope for. So I know I've not been making as many videos with the rats as I usually would, and there's no real reason for that. I've just been making videos as and when something interesting pops up, like when I got my snail or when things happen in general, when I buy things, that's kind of just me making videos as and when. If you have any ideas for rat videos you'd like to see, do let me know in the comments, because I do have a lot of ideas. I'm just a bit stumped at the moment for things I can film quite easily, so if you have any ideas, do let me know, and I'll try to do a bit more rat videos in the future. But I do have a new toy for them to try today. This is a snuffle mat, and this is a type of foraging toy. I do sell this on my store, but I have very, very limited numbers available. They're really hard to get hold of for some reason, so if you do want one as well, you're going to have to be quick, because I think I only have 3 in stock at the moment. So of course I get one back for my rats, because I wanted to see their reaction and give them something else as a form of enrichment, so we're going to give this a go. So if you watched my video that I put up before this one, you'll know that unfortunately I did have to have Pearl, who was my favourite mouse, put to sleep quite suddenly, and I had this canvas for months. I really wanted her to have a mini canvas with all the rat ones, and this is so tiny compared to them, but I didn't want to do this when she was old and ill. I didn't want to stress her any more than she already was, so I never really got around to doing it. So this was something that I did after the fact, which maybe that is a bit morbid, but I just wanted something extra special to remember her by, and I'm really glad I did it. I think it turned out really cute. Her paw prints are so tiny compared to the rat ones, and we just went for a pink theme with 2 different shades of pink. I've also had so many messages and questions asking where's Orbit, or what happened to Orbit, or did I rehome Orbit? No, she's still here, she's doing good. I've just had nothing really that interesting to update you on. She lives a very simple life compared to the rats that always have some sort of drama. So she's still here, she's good, just nothing really to tell you when it comes to Orbit. I do really want to give her an enclosure update. I want her to have so much more space, and that especially will come when we move house, but I have been on the hunt for a bigger enclosure just to give her a bit more space. I also want to give her a much more naturalistic setup, so that is going to come whenever I can find a large second-hand enclosure that I think will be suitable, and I'm looking pretty much every week to try and find that, so that will be sometime hopefully in the future. But for now, she's doing good. She's eating fine, shedding fine, living her best life. So when it comes to updates on the invertebrates, obviously you guys know I have the Millipedes, I also have the leaf insect eggs that I've been trying to hatch, and I also know I have my giant African land snail, so I think I'll start with the leaf insect eggs. So I think it was in a video a couple of months ago I showed you that my first leaf insects from the eggs I had hatched, and I was so excited about this. That was short-lived. They were doing pretty good, they were kind of almost ready to have their first molt, and then I think I must have got some really dodgy bramble from the woods. I washed it, I gave it a really thorough rinse after I collected it, but there must have been some like spider eggs stuck on that, which I didn't notice. I think they were very, very tiny, and those must have hatched overnight in the enclosure. And then all of the leaf insects that I had been kind of putting together in one like baby enclosure, all of them were dead, so I don't know if the spiders, the baby spiders, had done that, but there must have been some correlation between those baby spiders being on the bramble, so I was just so annoyed by that. So it's just been a case of waiting for more to hatch. We did have one hatch a few weeks ago, and that kind of got semi-stuck in the egg, and that one didn't survive, so we've only got one baby leaf insect at the moment, and they're just really frustrating. They kind of ignore the food you give them, even if you cut around the leaf, and even if you keep putting them back on the leaf over and over again. Sometimes some of them just kind of sit at the top of the enclosure and starve themselves and die, so it's definitely not as easy as I was expecting it to be, and it's a bit frustrating, so not as much luck with the leaf insects as I would have hoped, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this one baby that we have at the moment decides to start eating and survive, because it would be nice to have them back again. I love them when they're kind of past their first molt and they're adults, but I find this stage very, very tricky. So in terms of the Millipedes, I'm not too sure if I mentioned this in a video, but I definitely put it on my Instagram. Magnum, which was my favourite one, he was the big black millipede. He passed away, he kind of curled up on the surface, and I wasn't too sure whether he was molting, and you're really not supposed to touch them or disturb them, so I wasn't sure whether he died or if he was molting, and I really wasn't sure what happened because all of the temperature and humidity was correct, so something had just happened with him. He should have lived a lot longer than he did, and that kind of has deterred me from getting any more or keeping millipedes in the future, because as much as I love them, I find them so fascinating. I find it really difficult not being able to do anything, not being able obviously to take them to a vet's, or even being able to check on them, because if they go down into the soil, you can't really disturb them or move the soil to check if they're dead or not, which I find really difficult because I want to know if they're doing okay, and I find that part really difficult. So probably won't own any millipedes in the future, but I do have the other 3 still somewhere in the soil. So that's definitely been a learning curve that I don't think you could predict before you get them, just how much anxiety it causes you not knowing if they're alive or if they're just chilling in the soil molting. So I don't think I'll be getting any more millipedes anytime soon. The other 3 are doing okay, but just especially after losing the first one, I'm like, are they alive? Are they not? I don't know because I can't see them. So that part of owning millipedes I definitely don't like, and it does kind of put me off from getting any more in the future. And of course, lastly, we have Slushy, which is my new giant African land snail. If you're confused where I suddenly got a snail from, I will link that video in the iCards and the description. But he is doing really good. He's got his new food that has lots and lots of protein, and he's still in his temporary enclosure, which I have had to severely tape up with sellotape just to hold in the humidity a bit better, but we are reaching the numbers that it should be at, which is good, and I'm slowly but surely perfecting his care to make sure that I'm doing things as best I can given the circumstances. But he will go into a bigger enclosure when he's big enough, and I'll probably do a bit of switching around with the enclosures, but he's doing good. I really like him, and he just hides sometimes. Again, it gives me anxiety that I don't know where he is or how he's hiding in a really small enclosure, but he's also doing really good as well. So at the moment, all of the mice are fast asleep, and I'm not going to disturb them too much. I'll give you guys an update later on today, but until then I think I'm going to pack some orders for my store, and then I'll get back to you with an update on the mice. So here are the mices. Of course, we've got Fleet, who is my neutered male mouse that I got recently, and I've not really shown him very much ever since I got him because that was pretty much when my health issues started, but he's doing really good. He's very cute, and he forces himself underneath the girls and is constantly demanding them to groom him and dote on him, which is just the cutest thing. So he's very naughty, but he's also doing really good. And then we also have my 2 rescues, Bramble and Sprig, who are 2 years old in January, I think. So they're also coming up to being very old ladies, which you can probably see in their face and their movements. They are getting pretty old. And then we also have Clove, who, as I mentioned in my previous video, she does unfortunately have a memory tumour which popped up out of nowhere, as they do. I discovered this on the 8th or 9th of December, so it's only been a week since I saw this, and it's just grown so quick, so fast, and it's got pretty big. So I'm really disappointed that it's not a little bit more slow growing, because I hope she would have had a bit more time with her. She still seems fine, she can still move at this point, and she's still happy and eating and stuff, but I'm just disappointed that it's so aggressive and so quick. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm not really considering getting this removed by a vet, just because she is almost 2 years old and it is in a really awkward position near muscles and nerves and ligaments and stuff, that I just don't want to put her through the pain of doing that, and also the recovery for her to not really have much time left. Anyway, that's just a personal decision that I'm not really comfortable having that removed, given her age and everything else. So you might disagree with this, but that's just my personal decision, that I want to spoil her as much as possible in the last couple of weeks or months, and just give her as much quality of life until it gets too much. And I'm just, yeah, it's just got really big over the past week or so. So it's not looking too hopeful for poor Clove. So all that being said, I think the worst part about owning rats and mice is that whilst yours are still old or sick, or you're still trying to get over the loss of your other mice or rats, you have to start thinking about getting more rats and mice, even if you don't want to. It's something you have to do for the rest of them. So with Fleet being 4 or 5 months old, I don't want him being left by himself, with the others being the age they are. So I've been looking for future mice. I really want to get rescues. I don't want to go to a breeder unless I have to. But if that comes to it, I will just get mice from a breeder just to make sure that he's not living alone by himself, because this has crept up on me quick, as it always does. They just suddenly turn 2 years old and you're like, oh god, I need to start getting more mice ASAP. So yeah, if you're watching this and you see any mice needing homes in the kind of East Midlands, Lincolnshire area, please send them my way, whether it's in a message or on a comment. Please let me know if you know any mice that need homes, because I will be looking for some soon. And of course we can't forget about Hubble. He's doing really good. I think sometime this week approximately he turned 4 months old, which is just crazy how quick things are going. But he's going through a really awkward stage at the moment where I think his body is growing quicker than his fur, and he's kind of looking a bit scraggly and a bit short-haired. I think once he gets his adult coat back in, he'll go back to being fluffy and poofy, hopefully, fingers crossed. But he is getting so long and so big, and he's just a really good boy most of the time. He's been ignoring my Christmas tree. I will probably jinx this by saying this, but he's not tried to climb it. He's not tried to really touch it. Whether he'll try to do that next year, I'm not too sure. But luckily he's left the tree alone, which is really good, because that was one of the main reasons, if the only reason, that I was kind of a little bit worried about getting a cat. But he's been really good with the tree, thankfully. But he is just the best decision that I could have made this year. Even when I'm not feeling good, he will sit with me and smother me if I'm not feeling particularly good, or he will just make me laugh. He does the most random, crazy things, and he has a manic moment. Twice a day he will have the zoomies and just go crazy, which is just hilarious to watch. So he's just been really, really good for me when I've not been feeling well, and he's just my little best friend. He is also going to be neutered and microchipped, fingers crossed, in January time, just because the vets that I bought his kitten package with, they don't neuter or even microchip until the kitten is 5 months old. So those are both going to be done at the same time. Hopefully in January, if I can get him booked in and it's not too backlogged. I hope not. I should probably do that sometime soon just to be sure, but I'll feel a lot better once that's done and out of the way, and we don't have to worry about that anymore. So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the link in my description to get your free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!